in strong opposition to the Republican so-called budget plan. I'm a member, yes, of the Budget and Appropriations Committee, and I know, because we work on this each and every day, that our national budget is a statement of our national priorities and our values. And I know very well that the Republicans have put forward, quite frankly, a sinister budget whose chief purpose is to hand tax breaks to billionaires. Budgets are moral documents. They should not be rigged in favor of special interests and the wealthy few, but the Republican budget is. Our nation's budget should prioritize working families and the middle class, too many of whom are making low wages and living below the poverty line. It should assist those struggling to find a job and invest in workforce training and education and job creation and job training. Instead, this Republican budget creates tax cuts for billionaires, millionaires, and corporations. Our budget should expand and protect health care for all. Instead, this budget steals nearly $2 trillion from life-saving Medicaid and Medicare. Our budget should also invest in our crumbling infrastructure, which, of course, creates jobs. But the Republican budget cuts funding for our roads, our bridges, and our railways. Finally, with nearly 40 million Americans living in poverty, our nation's budget should contain a serious and effective strategy to end poverty, especially for communities of color and rural communities who have higher poverty rates. The House Republican does not do this. In fact, it slashes programs that help create good-paying jobs for struggling families by $5.4 trillion. No family in America should be forced to go hungry. Yet because wages are so low across this country, millions of families now rely on nutrition and food assistance. Yet this budget cuts $150 billion from SNAP and food assistance and nutrition assistance, which will create more poverty for people who are working. Doesn't make any sense, fundamentally immoral. Once again, Republicans are determined. May I have another 30 seconds?
The gentlelady, another 30 seconds.
Gentlelady is recognized for another 30 seconds.
Thank you. Once again, Republicans are determined to balance their budget on the backs of the most vulnerable, to hand tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires and corporations, and slush funds for Pentagon contractors. I tell you, this budget is cruel and unusual punishment for those who are not rich. I urge my colleagues to reject this un-American, heartless budget and vote no.